The Hawks beat the Mammoth 3-2 in overtime. Come get franked on the postgame show. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Chloe Thiel. Mario Tirabassi is back at the United Center and will join us shortly after he hits the celebratory locker room. Hawks beat the Mammoth 3-2 in overtime in a very hard-fought. He is stuck. We're going to turn him off. In a very hard-fought, very physical, very feisty game. And, boy, a lot of Hawks played well. We had streaks extended. We had streaks ended. We had a Drew Commesso performance. We had Connor Bedard on fire. It was a great night, a really great game. And I'm very much looking forward to the next 8 to 10 years of Blackhawks versus Mammoth.
Yeah, it's the Blackhawks have their number this year. I mean, they're 3-0, and all three of those victories have been solid team efforts. That first game way back early in the season, I think it was only the second home game. It was their first win of the year was against the Mammoth, and it was a game where Ilya Mikheyev scored the game-winning goal. I think Ryan Donato had a goal, so they got the depth scoring. And then just last week, the 4-0 shutout where it was another team effort. Tonight, everybody was chipping in up and down the lineup. Another good goaltending performance by Drew Commesso. And the feistiness is building up. They just played each other last week. They're playing them again on Thursday. 3 games in 11 days. Thursday should be a lot of fun because the Mammoth have to be pissed. They were pissed after the 4-0 loss. Their head coach, Andre Burakovsky, I don't know if I said, I don't care. I tried to be French. Leave me alone.
It just sounded like something else.
Well, I don't care. Deal with it. Go to your safe space.
Chloe, use the microphone. There you go. Well, no. Use the microphone when you have something to say.
Well, I just said that I was offended because I have a French stepdad. That's why.
She does. And his name's Pierre. That's
his name is Pierre.
And he rides around on a bicycle with French bread, and he has a beret and a tiny little mustache.
He doesn't have a mustache.
And a horizontally straight black and white shirt. And an accordion.
He does have that. No
this
accordion.
Might be a record. 3 minutes to get completely off the rails. Anyway, yes. Utah Mammoth, not happy. They weren't happy after the 4-0 win. They can't be happy with tonight because they dominated the first
half of the first period.
12, 13 minutes of the game. It took the Blackhawks a little while to get their legs under them. And once they did, I mean, they dominated the second period. Andre Burakovsky gets his first goal in 20 games and looks up to the heavens. And you can just...
Honestly.
As much as we've bagged on him and Blackhawk fans have bagged on him, rightfully so. You could still feel good for a guy that's been trying.
Yes.
Just hasn't been very good.
Yes.
And tonight, especially after the first period when he missed that wide open power play goal to score from behind the net, essentially, hopefully that gets him in a better headspace and we see some better hockey from him.
I overheard a conversation during the first intermission between two hockey people. I don't want to give anything away. And they were talking about Burakovsky and just saying, like, this is before the goal. Just saying, man, you could see he's just fighting it out there and the confidence is just so shaken. And when you see a guy celebrate a goal like that where he just looks up to the sky like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank God I scored, because in that first period, Frank Nazar sent him up for the biggest open net since Nathan MacKinnon whiffed in the Olympics. And he shot it through the crease. And you could just feel, I felt so bad for him in that moment because he's probably, oh my God, this is going to be it. And he still missed. He still missed. And man, to get that goal, as much as it was weird behind the net, just kind of swatting it in, sometimes that's what it takes to get the monkey off your back.
It was a lucky break. Hit the button.
Oh, we got 100. Nice. That's
It
great.
was a lucky break. They got fortunate bounce off the end boards. I went right to them. And but you need those, especially when you miss a wide open net. Sometimes you need an ugly one. And he made a great play, but on a night where there's so much emotion in that building, first home game after the passing of Troy Murray, so many great tributes to him. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but
Definitely.
and for them to come out completely flat on a night like that, I was getting angry.
Yes.
I was like, come on, guys. And then
Rightfully
all of a
so.
sudden they got their act together. And I want to give Burakovsky credit too, because they were on that power play where he missed the opportunity because of a play that he started. He jumped on a pass in the neutral zone, made a great interception, got the puck over to Kaiser, who entered the zone and drew the penalty that got them that power play. So, the stat line outside of the goal, not great for Burakovsky, but that goal is huge for his confidence for that line. Gets him gripping the stick a little looser, feeling a little better. So let's see how that carries over into the next couple of games. They got Utah again on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to that game.
It's going to be fun.
There's no way Utah wants to get swept by the Blackhawks. I mean, the Blackhawks almost swept the Dallas Stars this year. But, lots of guys to give kudos to tonight. Frank Nazar had the embarrassing moment in overtime and then came back to win it. 4-game point streak, 2 goals, 6 points in the last 4 games. The Frank Nazar haters, not hearing a lot out of him lately.
We're gonna.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, the best way to shut them up is to have
they were logging on.
Have 4 points in 6 games. That gets people to shut up.
And he could have had 5 because of the Burakovsky miss.
Yeah, he set him up perfectly for that.
Yep.
Connor Bedard has been playing on a different level since the Olympic break came back. People have already said it in the chat. Sam Renzel had a really good game tonight. He was really moving the puck up the ice with confidence. He had some great passes. He had a great stretch pass in the second period that got the puck up the zone quickly. He made the first pass on that Burakovsky play to Nazar, who set him up. So he was really good. I was impressed with Artie Levshunov tonight. Another physical game.
Physical.
But
we're seeing the team hit.
That was the way he was when they played in Utah. So something about, Mammoth just gets under his skin and he the anger gets up, and I like it. And the new guy, Andrew Mangiapane, scored the most Andrew Mangiapane goal you'll ever see.
Bread eater, baby.
Just skated to the net, stopped, and Ryan Donato's pass hit off his leg and went in.
That's it.
The Artem Anisimov special, baby.
Man.
It's not, he does not play a flashy game. He plays simple, fast, physical hockey.
I think Hawks fans are going to love him.
He
was, by the way, before the game started getting really chippy and feisty. He was my favorite morning show, by the way, Chippy and Feisty. He was the first Hawk mixing things up after the whistle, getting in people's faces.
Got in Clayton Keller's face.
He is not scared.
He went right after their captain, got in his face and said, "Let's go, man." And that's contagious. That gets people pumped up. And he's made a really good impression his first 3 games.
Well, and just the goal, too, is you've got, how many periods in a row of this team drop pass, spin, drop it back to the point, pass it around. Man, just go to the effing net and you see it get rewarded. And that was a turning point in the game, was that goal, right? That's when the Hawks started figuring things out. It took them over 12 minutes to get credited with their first shot on goal. And the first shot on goal was a puck that Andre Burakovsky redirected literally from the center ice circle just to save icing. He was there right at the dot, and it just happened to roll in on goal, and that was the first shot on goal. 12 plus minutes, Bronx cheer, right? And then a few seconds later, it was about a minute later, Mangiapane gets the goal, and then the Hawks, I think from maybe a little bit after that, but close to that moment, late in the first period, started turning the game around. They had no shots until, like I said, 12 plus minutes in. They end the first with an 8-6 shot advantage, 11-8 in the second, 6-8 in the third. So they're outshot twice in the third period. And they got the one shot on goal in overtime. That was the winner. But man, you saw, and it still wasn't perfect and it still wasn't pretty. There were a lot of those passes that were right off the money, or there was Bedard whiffed on a one-timer. Lardis whiffed on a one-timer, some broken sticks. It was about as ugly of a win as you're going to get, but it's a win. And I'll say this: it's a game.
They're all ugly with this team.
They
but
are,
you take them.
but this is a game they deserved to win.
Yeah.
Slow start be damned, right? I think when you have a team this young, it's going to be very rare where we're on a post-game show and say, wow, that was a full 60-minute impressive effort. It's just not going to be the case.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be the case with a young team, but you've seen them, even in the Dallas game, where they're supremely outclassed talent-wise. They fight, and they fight, and they fight, and they scratch, and they claw to tie the game to get it to overtime. They did the same thing to tie this game, right? Like, they had so many opportunities, so many looks, so many chances. They never really stopped. And I'm glad they won this game. They deserve to win the game. And it's 2 quality points that I think they can head into the game here with some notes for improvement, of course, but feeling really good about, 45 of the 60 or however many you want to say. It was a really, really solid effort from them. And look, this is a team, they trade their captains, all 3 of them, that could very well have just tucked their tails and said, we're just going to get trounced the rest of the year. Let's play for draft positioning. And no, they have been fighting and clawing every game. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes guys have good games. Sometimes they're bad. But at least you have a group of guys going out there giving everything they've got. And I really enjoyed this one, and I'm so glad they got to.
They earned it. They were rewarded. They dominated the second period, and it took a bounce off the end boards and a nice play by Burakovsky to get that game tied. And you get a power play in the overtime because, Nazar misses, fumbles the breakaway, but gets the puck back, and they start cycling the puck, and they move their feet, and they draw the penalty to get 4-on-3. And, guys were finishing checks. Guys were protecting their goalie. They were scrapping it up after the whistle. That's impressive. That's, you just said they traded away their entire leadership group. Their captain and 2 assistant captains gone within a couple of days of each other.
Yep.
But these guys have stuck together. I think the young guys now know that, like, this is their team. It's your turn to take over. And Connor Bedard has been the best player over these past couple of games. Frank Nazar has played his best hockey of the season these last 4 or 5 games. He's, his speed has been noticeable. He's trying to drive the net more in the last couple of games, something that's been missing. I think, getting his confidence back with the scoring touch helps. I also think, it takes a while, I would imagine. I've never broken my jaw and then tried to play NHL hockey before, but I would imagine it takes a few games for you to, get over the fear of, I don't want that to happen again. That's only natural. So he's been really good the last couple of games. That's good to see. The young defensemen, we talked about Rinzel, we talked about Levshunov. They've been chipping in real well. There were mistakes made tonight. The second goal was not great. Alex Vlasic skates himself into trouble instead of getting the puck up to Mikheyev or Donato, who were ahead of him, and it leads to 2-on-1. And Commesso almost made that save. I thought he stopped it.
It just trickled right under him.
Live, I thought he stopped it. So, good for Commesso. I think we can have the discussion later tonight about, hey, I think it's time that he's here permanently. I'm good.
I would do that today.
I'm good. I don't need to see Arvid Soderblom. I think we know what Arvid Soderblom is at this point. He's at 100. Is he at 100? No. How many starts? It doesn't matter. He's had enough. He's had enough to know that what he is. He is what he is at this point. So 106 games. 106 games, 887 save percentage.
You are what you are.
That is about what he is. So, maybe it's time that Drew Commesso is given the backup spot, especially for next season. But lots of good things to take away. And I was also happy for Ryan Donato getting that assist on the Mangiapane goal, setting that up, because you and I both looked at each other and like just shook our heads on that delayed penalty.
Oh my God.
In the first period. They've got 6 skaters on the ice, and Ryan Donato decides to try and skate through all 5.
Leroy Jenkins.
He just gets the zone and decides to just try and skate right through. And I'm like, what are you doing? That I told you that goal in the Vancouver game got him thinking he's Jaromir Jagr all of a sudden.
Someone needs to take the Y button off his controller because that toe drag is not
then
working.
Then he made the Ryan Donato-esque play
he's not
later.
Sam Lafferty, right?
Right, exactly. Like that was infuriating. So, but he made up for it. Burakovsky blew that play. He made up for it. Nazar blew the play, made up for it. That's resiliency. That's what we've seen a lot from this team, especially when they win, is that resiliency, and we saw it tonight.
That's what you want to see. All right, we got to give our Game Day Men's Health Game Puck nominees. Better father, better husband, better man. Go to Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayCHGO.com to find the locations closest to you. 3 nominees tonight. Lots of choices, but we want to get some different names in there when we can. Andrew Mangiapane, a goal, 14-24 of ice time, a shot on goal, and 4 more shot attempts. Drew Commesso stopped 22 of 24 Utah Mammoth shots, including some really high danger ones late in the game. Really stood tall when they were pushing towards the end of regulation. Commesso made some huge saves. And, of course, Frank Nazar, the overtime winner, his sixth point in his last 4 games, won 80% of his faceoffs. He was 8-2 from the dot. So those are your nominees, Mangiapane, Commesso, and Nazar. Oh, you took the Nazar guy. Can you put the laser guy back up there? Great job by Chloe, by the way, for the Frank Nazar laser graphic. Well done, Chloe. We appreciate that very much. All right, Noodle Man, he's very dusty. He's lonely. We've turned him on twice. We need at least one more Noodle Man appearance. We get to 200 likes. He's back on. For every 100 likes, we turn him on. Let's get there before the end of this break on CHGO Blackhawks. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That, my friends, is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. It is super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense, and that lets you stream the game even when the whole family is online on their Nintendos and all that. All your devices working together in perfect harmony for 5 years. And the best part, no annual contract, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from us, a lot can change in 5 years, but your Wi-Fi should stay reliable and the price should stay put. So lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more about the 5-year price guarantee at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. This is available on select plans only, and restrictions do apply. And as a man, are you starting to feel like you have low energy throughout the day? Do you not have the same motivation and drive you used to? Seeing that scale move up and hair fall out, muscles tightening up, the drop of a hat like me? Well, that's all the result of low testosterone. It's very common as you age and something to be mindful of. So whether it's peak performance or becoming a better father, better husband, or better man, Game Day Men's Health wants to support every man's health journey through personalized care tailored to their goals. It's a really easy process, in and out the door in just about an hour. Family and locally owned clinics with a huge rate of success. Check out our buddy Josh, who lost over 100 pounds in a little over a year using their testosterone replacement therapy. Start your best life with Game Day Men's Health. Check out locations in Skokie, Naperville, Libertyville, and more, or scan the QR code on your screen to find the one closest to you. Go to GameDayCHGO.com to see locations as well. All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks, and we've got a $50 super chat from Adrian, who says, I am loving watching the kids play. Bring on the Swede, bring on the Russian, bring on Atlanta, bring on Dallas. Yes, Adrian, they're coming. They're coming. Not the Cancerov, not this year. Cancerov will be next year.
Be in the fall.
But Frondell, you told me walking out. What is their playoff status?
Not great, Bob. They are 4 points out of the final SHL playoff spot with 2 games left, so it's not looking great for them.
That's a shame.
And the Hockey East tournament starts this week. Sasha Boisvert and BU pretty much have to win. Not pretty much. They have to win the Hockey East tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. Don't like their chances, but you never know. They could catch fire, but those guys both could be headed to Chicago within a week, 10 days. Yeah. That's exciting. I had a couple people talk about they like the physical play tonight, but they need a guy that's a little more brings it every night. Sasha Boisvert is that guy.
Yeah.
He will punch you if he doesn't like you. And in this league, you won't get suspended for it. So that kid's going to be a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
And I would say, temper expectations offensively for Boisvert. And I think that next season he'll probably start things in Rockford. But he's going to be physical. He's probably going to be a bottom 6 guy, but a highly skilled, probably overqualified bottom 6 guy if he hits his potential. And Frondell, I think he's going to arrive and add instant offense. I don't imagine a massive adjustment period for him. I think he's going to be effective right away. So it's going to be soon. Very, very soon. Before we get to Noodle Man, because we have not reached our 200 likes yet, why don't we hear from Andre Burakovsky, who spoke after the game, probably relieved that the goalless streak is over.
Said it all, didn't it?
Jesus Christ. Thought I was going to slap my own head when I missed that first one from Frank.
I was going to say, with that one, where you had that backdoor tap and then they hit the far post, you're just thinking, like, this is as bad as it gets. Like, this is
Yeah, it was just, this is how life goes right now. No, but great pass from Frankie there. It's just, it's been hard. It's been hard to find the back of net, so I was kind of annoyed when I missed that one, so it was nice to see one going for once.
Blashill's really stood by you throughout all this and kept you on that top line and kept believing you. What does that mean for you?
That means a lot. I mean, he's been amazing to me the whole year and shows a lot of trust, and he's a really great coach, and I enjoy playing for him, so thanks to him.
You guys have done pretty well against the Utah throughout this season. What is it about playing against them that it's worked so well? Different things every night. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You could say the same against, like, I think against Dallas we've been playing good against them too. I mean, some nights maybe we have a little more. I think today we fighting really hard. We battling, stood up for each other. You could sense that everyone really wanted to win. I think there's been a lot of games this year where it's been really tight, and then we end up losing at the end or overtime or whatever. So we wanted this one. We want to win every game, but we want to come back in front of our fans. I think they deserve it. They've been great all year. So
You got them again next. It's getting scrappy out there. Do you expect that one to be even, maybe a little more heated?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you see how the game plays out, but I mean, that's part of the game. It's fun. It's fun to get in there and start pushing each other a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Is that your first lacrosse style goal at any level?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to call it that. I don't know.
Mini lacrosse?
Half one. Yeah, it is.
Even though you haven't been producing, have you still felt like you've been
I'm
feeling
like
good on the ice?
Yeah, I'm looking at it more as if I'm creating chances. If I mean, there's been a lot of times where maybe I could have walked away with more, and I think I just look at it as long as I create, I'm feeling good about myself. That it took this long, I mean, I don't want that for sure, and it sucked for sure, but there's been a lot of games where I felt really good, creating a lot of chances, setting up my line mates and teammates, and so I haven't really got down on myself in that way. They're coming eventually, and like I said, the only thing I'm focusing on is I'm fine as long as I'm creating chances.
All right, that was Andre Burakovsky after the game today. You could just see the relief in his face. And I think the first comments of the interview were, Jesus Christ. I don't know if he's praying or if he's just like, oh, thank God. But definitely a guy that was feeling it in your head. Jokes aside, we like to have fun at his expense, but it's, man. Got a little news update here, by the way, not to crap on the parade. Jeff Blashill said Oliver Moore will miss, quote, significant time and we'll know more in a few weeks. So I think it's probably safe to say that Oliver Moore's season is over.
Yeah.
I don't want to jump the gun too much. But
well, there's only a few weeks left. So, yeah, I mean, when you look back at that injury, it looked like the injury happened from the contact with the boards, not like a weird twist. So you wonder something got fractured or broken.
Yeah.
not great, but somebody will step up. I thought this would give an opportunity for Nick Lardis, but we'll talk about him, I'm sure, with his 7 minutes of ice time. I just wanted to correct myself on the Swedish Hockey League. I misspoke. They are in 9th place, but they do take the top 10 teams. But they would get in there, what they call their
like a play-in?
Like a play-in round where the bottom 4 teams play a best-of-3 series to get into the regular playoffs. And those playoffs start Monday. So maybe by mid next week, his season will be over, depending on what they do in that playoff series. So,
okay. It is very confusing. Their playoff system is
they take 10 because they only have 14 teams in the whole league, 16 teams in the whole league, so they take 10. The top 6 get buys into the quarterfinals, and the bottom 4 play best-of-3 series to get into the quarterfinals. So they'll have one of those series. It looks like they've clinched. Yeah, they're 5 points ahead with 2 games to go.
Well, they're in the play-in.
So, but
you said best-of-3?
Best-of-3. So that could end as soon as a week from Friday, the 20th.
Okay.
So, and as I said, Boisvert, that tournament starts this week. We'll see how that lands up, but both of those guys are on the way. Unfortunately, with Oliver Moore out for a significant time, however long that is, now there's a spot open.
So if he's done on the 20th, the next game will be the 22nd. That might be a little
probably not
optimistic,
then.
But the 24th would give them, I think, 12 games. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, they'd have 12 games left. So if he can play 10 to 12 games at the end of the year, that's great. That would be outstanding. You'll take that for sure. And Boisvert probably maybe a little bit sooner than that.
You'd think, but you never know. I mean, BU has got a track record of performing well this time of year, even though they've had a down season. I'm not writing them off in that Hockey East tournament. It's just it'll be a tough road for them to toe. But yeah, bummer news about Oliver Moore. But the Hawks have endured a lot of their top young players getting hurt with Bedard, Nazar, now Oliver Moore. So they'll just have to figure out a way to replace that production. And hopefully it's giving Nick Lardis a little more playing time. I'm not sure what we're doing here, calling him up and then sticking him on a line with Landon Slaggert and Sam Lafferty and playing him 7 minutes a night. What the F is that going to do for him? Put him back to Rockford and let him score goals.
Well, I think now at this point, with Moore out, you're probably going to want to keep him up here, but use him in a more offensive role.
And that third line was really good tonight with Donato and Mangiapane and Mikheyev, so he's not going to change that. They won the night, so the lines aren't changing. So I don't know what you do.
I don't know
unless you go 7 and 11, and then you can keep Lardis and Slaggert and have Nazar play with them, have Bedard play a few shifts with them, have whoever jump in, and so he could at least get. What's he going to do with Sam Lafferty and Landon Slaggert for 7 minutes?
Nothing.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what he did tonight. Absolutely nothing. It's pointless. It's pointless.
And look, Jeff Flashow has shown a willingness to play kids. It's not that he's not like a Joel. But he's not a Joel Quenneville where he's like, if you're young, you're just not playing.
He knows. He knows what the situation. He needs these kids to get good if he wants to keep his job.
Yeah, and he is always seeing things. And I will say this too. In the limited time we've seen Nick Lardis over the last 2 games, he has not been effective. Again, obviously, playing with the guys he's playing with is not using him to his strengths, but the 3 lines you had, your top 9 was pretty damn good. You don't want to change that too much, and he's here. At least he's playing. Did he get power play time? No. Yes, he did. He got a minute 20 on the power play. So power play specialist, overtime specialist, I don't know. I would like to see him get some more opportunities, but now that Burakovsky scored, he's not going anywhere.
No.
And I think Ethan Del Mastro has to play too. Like, all respect to Matt Grzelcyk, who's coming here and been nothing but a pro. I don't need to see any more from Matt Grzelcyk. Like, I get you want to have a veteran guy in here to kind of steer the ship and help the young guys, but I also don't want Ethan Del Mastro sitting. So I think the 11-7 is probably the way to go here.
I think they'll have a practice on Wednesday, so maybe you can get that practice, get those guys, Del Mastro, another because he didn't get a practice, with the team before coming in and playing, and neither did Lardis. He got called up after practice and kind of just was put in. So hopefully maybe for Thursday, I would say you do the 7 with more out. I don't need to see Sam Lafferty. No offense to him, great kid. He's been a soldier this year. I don't need to see him play. I'm good.
Yeah.
Go get the 7 defensemen in and use that until Frondell and or Boisvert get here.
Then you figure it out.
Then you put Frondell wherever. Maybe you play your 4th line will be Frondell, Boisvert, and Lardis. Let's get weird. That'd be fun.
Sure.
It would be a 4th line in number on the slot, but it won't be a 4th line. Whatever. Let's worry about that when we get there. But yeah, I would say, the 11 and 7. Bijan says with Korch instead of Grizzly. I know. I would rather have, if you're going to do 11 and 7, I'd rather have Korch up here than Del Mastro. But I'm not in favor of sitting Grizzly. I get your sentiment, but he's been really good. He's been a very pleasant surprise this season.
Some young guys just sitting here rotting,
right? But we're gonna have to figure that out because next season, it certainly sounded. It was like, well, if we need a 7th veteran defenseman, it's Derek Pouliot because he's under contract for next year. So next year, it's going to be Vlasic as the guy, the veteran leader, and Del Mastro and Korchinski are no longer waiver exempt, so they need to make this team out of camp. So we'll get all that look next year for sure, but let's take a peek at it this year. I've got no problem with that.
All right, we're going to hit the brakes on one more time. Mario will join us shortly. Let's also hear from Frank Nazar when we come back. He talked after the game. We have 450 people watching and only 219 likes. Can we get to 300 by the end of the show? I think we can. We get to 300. Noodle Man wakes up one more time. Let's give him a workout. He needs it. He's been sleeping for a long, long time. Hit that like button. Back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks. Can you believe it's already March? That doesn't mean it's time to abandon your protein goals, and Huel right here is the perfect solution for high protein routine support, busy days, habit building, convenience, and control this year. Earlier this week, I plumb forgot to have dinner. There was a Huel in the fridge here. There you go. Dinner. 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. It's gluten-free and under $5 per meal. It's awesome. Just grab it and go. And they've got the Black Edition powder as well. Use that for thicker blending, kind of more filling, still the same high protein, but you can mix it with things. Absolutely delicious. Same great benefits with the Black Edition powder. If you're trying to stay consistent, this combo makes it really easy. Go to Huel.com/Blackhawks15 to save 15% online with our code Blackhawks15. That's Huel.com/Blackhawks15. And it's spring. And you know what spring rhymes with? Wing. You can get some of those at Hooters. That's right. Chloe's impressed by that segue. Check out their big fish sandwich in time for Lent. Perfectly seasoned, tender cod, grilled, blackened, or hand battered and fried. And it is still the best spot on earth for lunch. 10 boneless wings or 10 buffalo shrimp served with their awesome curly fries or tots for just $10. I'm getting excited. Woo! Get some of those or finish strong with Hooters funnel fries. Dusted to perfection and served with rich chocolate dipping sauce. A fan favorite. That's at Hooters from March 17th to 31st. Cheer on your favorite teams from any of their 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations. Aurora, Countryside, Downers Grove, Joliet, Lansing, Melrose Park, my old hometown of Oak Lawn, O'Hare, Orland Park, Schaumburg, and Wells Street. Check them out at originalhooters.com. Get some wangs. All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks. Thanks for those likes. We need some more. Hit it. Let's hear from Frank Nazar, the overtime hero. In this one, he spoke after the game. Hey, there's Vinny Parisi.
You had that chance off the pass from you and missed, and then you had the breakaway in overtime. Did it feel good to get that redemption at the end?
Yeah, the whole game up until he scored, I was like, it comes in pairs. Like, be ready. It's coming again. After he missed that first one, and then he gets the second one and scores, and then same thing for me. I get the breakaway, fumble it, and then get another chance, right? So it comes in twos, and just be ready for that second chance.
It was especially sweet after the overtime loss last night to come back and get it in overtime tonight?
For sure, I think it definitely is. Especially like the meaning of today's game with Troy Murray and everything. He's definitely up there watching and guiding us, and he made a big impact on a lot of our lives and our organization. So to be able to get that one in a day like today is really good.
What'd you make of how you guys responded after the first few minutes of that period?
Yeah, I actually thought we played really well whole game. Bits and pieces that we can clean up, but I thought we came together, and I mean we made a hard push in the third and had a lot of great chances. Didn't try not to give up much, and I don't think we did. And to be able to push that to OT and get that extra point was huge.
You don't seem to like these guys, and they don't seem to like you very much. You got them again next. What are you expecting on Thursday?
I don't know. We'll see. It's a mini series, right? So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a test. It's definitely something that we need to practice for the future, right? Playing teams more than once in a row, and it's definitely something we can learn from and build some confidence with.
What goes through your mind when you fumble the puck like that? All the crowd is on there just expecting you to shoot.
I don't think I'm allowed to say that. But yeah, nothing good. Just glad I got a second chance, right? Let's just be thankful for that.
Do you feel like your line has been doing pretty well? Do you feel like you guys are doing well together?
Yeah, I mean, I love playing with Bert and Table, right? Two great players. We find ways to make plays, and it's been a blast. Had a lot of chemistry with them last year in the beginning of the year, and it's always fun to play with two great players.
Is Tirabassi giving you more spin passes?
Yeah, he has. I've been giving him a few more this time. Right? He's been scoring lately. So.
Do you feel like your individual game seems to be opening up a little bit more recently? Been able to get on the score sheet a lot more?
Yeah, I think that it's been there. I had a lot of meetings with Blash and coaches and stuff, and talked about a few things personally, and then I think really, executing on these opportunities that you get. And I think even games before where I haven't scored or puck's not going in or not getting the play to finish, it's all been there. Just a matter of that puck crossing the line. So I think keep my head high and staying humble and just continuing to work and get better each day is the key.
Frank, what's it mean to play with somebody like Tirabassi for as long as you have, and what's it kind of taught you this year as it's gone along?
It's a good question. I mean, I definitely think hockey sense is a big part. Spoke about it before, but just how smart he is and how he reads the ice, man. It's I feel like he can play forever. It doesn't matter if he can't skate or he only has one leg. I feel like he just reads the ice so well and has such a good touch that he can play wherever, anywhere, anytime. And that's a big thing. And learning to read off him and being predictable with him, it goes a long way.
That's Frank Nazar, the overtime hero. The Hawks 3-2 win over the Utah Mammoth. He is one of our Game Puck nominees, as well as Drew Commesso, who stopped 22 of 24 shots. And that leads us right to Taking the Temp, presented by our friends at Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. And every time Drew Commesso plays a solid game for the Blackhawks, the conversation kicks up again. When is it time to give him the backup job to Spencer Knight and move on from Arvid Soderblom? You said it. We're 106 games into his career?
106 games, yes.
We know what he is. I know they don't want him to get claimed on waivers. I'm not overly concerned with it. But I'm ready to give the kid a look, man. I'm ready to give him an extended look. And maybe it's the end of the season you could do it. Maybe you find an excuse. Maybe you invent an injury. I don't know. But I think Drew Commesso has done a really good job of being patient, biding his time, heading to Rockford with a smile on his face, waiting for his opportunity. And I think he has earned the opportunity for an extended look in the NHL.
I 100% agree. He was drafted in the second round, and he's in year 3 in Rockford. At some point, you have to say, okay, let's see what you can do at the NHL level. He's been if it wasn't for illness, he probably wouldn't have played in the NHL this year.
Yeah.
But he got thrown in a tough situation back in January. He wasn't very good in that Capitals game. But, you know, he went from morning skate in Rockford to coming to Chicago and back up Arvid. 20 minutes before game time, guess what? You're playing tonight. So, of course, that wasn't great. But he followed up the very next night with that shutout in Nashville and was very good tonight. Called up again because Spencer Knight was sick. Was thought it was just going to be to back up Arvid last night, but you got to start tonight. At least today, you got to prepare for it. And, you know, Arvid Soderblom, good kid, works his ass off.
Yeah.
It's just not there. He's taken a step back. Last year, we were like, oh, okay. He went, you know, the 23-24 season, he was literally one of the worst goalies in the league statistically, and he bounced back. He had, you know, those numbers have dropped. His save percentage has gone down 22 points from last year. His goals against average is over a half a goal more a game. He gives up 3.5 goals a game in his career.
Yeah.
It's too many.
And we have a very limited sample size with Drew Commesso, so acknowledging that. But in his 5 NHL games, he's a 261 goals against and a 900 save percentage.
And his AHL numbers aren't great, but I always take goaltending numbers in the AHL with a grain of salt.
100%.
Because he's playing behind AHL defenses. He's playing behind, you know, he gets a lot of high danger shots thrown his way. He's playing for a very offensively challenged Rockford IceHogs team that he knows if he gives up more than one, he's probably losing, and that makes the goalie play a little out of their comfort zone. So take those with a grain of salt. What you want out of a goaltender in the AHL is he improving his mechanics? Is he playing, you know, better within the crease? Is he learning? Is he becoming a better goaltender regardless of what the stats say? So,
well, and you look at his season last year in Rockford when he's got Alan Korchinski, Lev Shinov, right? He's got Del Mastro there for most of the year.
He came back. When he came back from that ankle injury in early February, the IceHogs don't make the playoffs without Commesso, and they almost knocked off the Milwaukee Admirals single-handedly because of what Drew Commesso did.
Yeah.
He was fantastic, and then this year it hasn't been great. All that put aside, I've seen enough of Arvid Soderblom.
That's it. You got to answer the question about Commesso.
Yeah, exactly.
And
we know what Soderblom is. He's a below-average backup goaltender. That's what he is.
And if Commesso can be a average to above-average backup, great. At least you know you can put a guy in there that you can trust that can steal you a game now and again.
Next season, you want to be sniffing. You want to be, at this point of the season, sniffing a wild card spot. You want to be what the Sharks are this year, what the Blue Jackets are this year, playing meaningful games.
Yeah.
You won't be doing that with a backup goalie that gives up 3.5 goals a game.
No, you won't.
So if you want next year to mean more, I think you have to give Commesso the keys to the backup position and let him be an NHL goaltender.
Well,
and then see what you got, because you got Guyan coming up. He's still 2-3 years away.
He's a ways away.
But you have to figure out
where,
just like we've talked many times about Korchinski, you have to figure out what he is. It's time to figure out. He's done with the AHL as far as I'm concerned, as far as where he can go. He's been there 3 full seasons. It's time. He's earned the right to be the backup next year. Maybe that's an open job in camp. Maybe the Hawks try and move Soderblom. I don't know who's begging for that.
Nobody.
Maybe they loan him to a Swedish team next year. I don't know. I don't care. Just time to move on from that position and let Commesso get his shot at backing up Spencer Knight.
Well, if Spencer Knight can't go Thursday, are you going Soderblom or are you going Commesso?
I mean,
2 days rest.
It is, but the last time they were in Utah, Soderblom shut him out.
That's true.
And Soderblom was in net. Spencer Knight was in net the first game, but I don't know. I mean, all 3 goalies have beaten.
Get Mitchell Weeks up here, damn it.
All 3 goalies have started against them, and they've scored a grand total of 3 goals in 3 games. Pick a name out of hat. Who cares?
Put Blashill in there.
Our goaltending owns the Utah Mammoth. Damn it. Doesn't matter who it is. You can put Jimmy Wade out there, and they're winning 3-1.
Hell yeah. Bring him out. All right, let's go to the United Center and welcome in Mario Tirabassi, who was in the locker room after the game. Mario, why don't we have you chime in on our Drew Commesso conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are on it. I'm in that same boat. I think Drew Commesso is a guy that is played pretty solidly at the AHL level since he's turned pro, and he's come up to the NHL and had a few spot starts, and some of them have been a lot better than others. But the last couple of games that he's played here, like he's looked good. He's looked solid tonight. He made the saves that he needed to. Some of them weren't as clean as you'd like them to be, but I think his defense helped him out tonight, clearing some of those rebounds away and not letting them turn into too many second and third chances. And even in some scrambling moments, he was able to keep his composure and be able to keep Utah from capitalizing on that. I think it's definitely an open discussion going into next season with Knight, Soderblom, Commesso. See where these guys are at. I know Knight is the starter, but Soderblom and Commesso can definitely battle it out for that backup spot. He's due a new deal in the summer. I know he's in RFA, so there's not really any worry of getting it done. It's just a matter of how it gets done. But we'll see if that ends up being just like a 1 or 2 year thing, or if they maybe say, like, with that deal, here's your backup moving forward. So we'll see. But I think he's definitely earned it.
And we heard from Andre Burakovsky, who obviously was feeling very relieved after the game. How did it feel, being around him in that moment? Did sort of the tension lifted a little bit? Because it has felt a little tense around him in the room over the last week or two.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely relieved. You could see it on the ice. You could see it in the post game. Like, he was a guy that felt like that's probably been hanging over him for a while, that he's really hasn't been producing, and he talked about it after the game about just wanting to kind of come back down from or actually pull himself up rather, from feeling down about himself and down about his game, and just say, okay, like, when the production's not there, what else are you doing to be effective? And Blashill's talked about it, and Burakovsky talked about it, about is he creating chances? Like, are you if you're not getting on the score sheet, are you setting up other guys to be in positions to get on the score sheet? And I think some games it was translating pretty clearly that he was doing that even without getting the assists or getting goals, and some games it was rough. But getting the goal tonight, especially the way that it happened, with whiffing on the basically empty net chance, and then coming back and getting the goal in the style that he did, that was just a big sigh of relief for him. And I think we as fans needed that too. So it was good to see for him.
Well, I know Jeff Blashill talked about him after the game. Let's listen in on that.
There's no doubt our guys like him a lot. Our guys, it's a close-knit group in there, and obviously he's gone through struggles where he hasn't been able to produce the level that certainly he's used to and capable of. And I felt like he was getting ready to break through, and he was able to tonight, and our guys were happy for him, and hopefully that leads to kind of those proverbial floodgates opening. I can see confidence is a funny thing, and it's amazing when you get confident what happens. Hopefully you can build off that goal and let that confidence grow.
He was gracious to you for keeping him on the top line throughout the struggles. Was it rewarding to kind of see him have the game that he had?
I just, again, it's interesting. Like, guys have to produce. I get it, but there's a lot more that goes into it. And if he wasn't working as hard as he's worked, if he wasn't caring as much as he's cared, maybe we don't keep him up there. But I just felt like he was working so hard. He was competing hard. He cares a ton, and eventually it felt like it was going to happen for him, and glad that it did. And he's a good person, and again, he's a big part of our group.
I think it's important for us to hear what Jeff Blashill said there about the work he's putting in. And you could tell by his stubborn commitment to Andre Burakovsky that there was something he was seeing that he wanted to reward. There was something he was seeing that made him believe that eventually Burakovsky was going to get out of this. We have seen Jeff Blashill demote guys for lesser reasons than he's done for Burakovsky. Maybe he just has some sort of feel for what makes him tick, what might shut him down, what might ruin his confidence more, and maybe getting moved off that top line is one of those things. But he saw enough behind the scenes to keep believing. He was kind of the only guy still believing Andre Burakovsky, and tonight it paid off. So we'll see if it continues. Let's hope it does, because he's an important piece of this team, and you got him for another year. I think you're muted, Mario.
Chloe?
Completely.
There you go.
There you go. You're good.
It was good to see him not let that miss early in the game completely deflate him. He definitely could have just said, well, that's how it's going to be. I'm checking out. And he didn't. He kept with it. And that line played really well tonight. And, Burakovsky's part of that. Ryan Green had a decent game. Connor Bedard had a very, very good game. And just could not get one past Vitek Vanacek tonight, but he had like a dozen chances created. Like it was a big game for Bedard, and Blashill touched on that after the game as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's actually had a lot of chances here since the break, and sometimes they go in easy, sometimes they don't. Before we went on the Western Canadian road swing early in the year, him and I talked. He's like, man, just stay with it because it's going to come. And then he really, he had tons of production on that trip. And I think, I can see a similar kind of thing right now where he's getting a ton of chances. The production will definitely come. His compete was great. Showed great leadership the way that he came out to work and compete tonight. And I didn't think we had our best game last night. We found a way to get a point. I thought we were much more dialed in tonight, and he certainly was one of the guys that led the way in that.
Yeah, I mean the way that Bedard was playing, it's amazing that he wasn't able to get on the score sheet, but he was dialed in. There were a number of times where, defensive plays he was making tonight were big impacts. So I think as much as we've kind of maybe made too much of him like wearing the letter, I think it just kind of coincides with this return from the break. He's healthy again. And, after the trade deadline, like it's really kind of just been like a change of like, you are now like the guy. There really wasn't any question of that. He was the guy, but now it's just like, there's even less guys that have been contributing, and now a lot goes to him. And I think he's relishing that opportunity, and his play is reflecting that.
Well, and another guy who stepped up big, obviously with the overtime winner, overcame the fumbled breakaway in overtime. 6 points in his last 4 games, Frank Nazar. The numbers are starting to return, and hopefully some of the Frank Nazar panic we've seen around town is going to subside a little bit too.
Yeah, I would think so. Scoring points, scoring goals, getting game winners, that smooths everything over. And kind of similar with Burakovsky, but not to as an extreme point. Frank, when he wasn't getting on the score sheet, you kind of had to look like, okay, how else is he impacting the game? His chance creation, his defensive impact. But now I think coming back from the break, it's been good from him, and he's really stepped up these last few games. And it's just kind of funny how the story of the game, two of the goal scorers tonight, was a redemption story. With Burakovsky missing, and then Frank, fumbling the overtime breakaway. But then he gets it back. So that was really good. Blashill talked about Nazar and his game recently as well after the game. So here's what he had to say.
Well, again, I understand the question. listen, I don't necessarily look at it exactly that way, but if Frank has high expectations, and we have high expectations of Frank, and those are going to be high again next year. He's a second-year NHL player. Like it's not an easy league. I could go through a number of guys, and including guys I've coached whose second years were tough years, and sometimes things go kind of your way, and then sometimes they don't. You got to learn how to react to that, and what I love about what Frank did tonight is how hard he competed on the puck. He won tons of pucks. The hit he took in the third to make a play, like all that stuff matters a ton. And I think he understands that good process, results will follow from him. He's a talented person, so if he has good process, results will follow. None of this stuff is ever going to go smooth all the time. And these are, that's what life is, and you're going to get knocked down, do you get back up? And he's had some moments, I'm sure, where he's felt like he got knocked down, but he gets back up well, and he's a confident kid, and a lot of belief in the success he'll have in the future.
All right. Yeah, the confidence is never going to be an issue for Frank, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. And the question was posed. I didn't really set it up properly, but the question was posed about, the expectations for Frank as he goes through now this second year and into next season when, that contract extension kicks in and, what's going to be expected of him and his role and his production. So I don't think there's any reason to worry. I think we've seen, as Blashill said, there's been a lot of players that have, had a lot of expectations. That second year pro, like it does take some adjustments still. Very rarely are guys finished products ready to go year one, year two. There's a lot of learning. So I think Nazar has gone through that this season, and the expectations going into next year are still going to be really high, as they should be. And I think he's a guy that's definitely going to be able to reach him.
All right. I know you're under the weather, so we're going to spring you. Thanks for all the post game. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we just did want to add, Oliver Moore, we talked with Blashill earlier this morning. He didn't really have any updates, said more testing was needed to be done. Was actually asked follow-up in the post game, and he mentioned that Moore will be missing significant time. Used the term weeks. He said that they would basically need to be a reevaluation period in about a month. I don't want to play doctor and guess, but my 2 cents would be that, by the way that Blashill's been talking about it now tonight, and just kind of how that injury went, I would think this might be it for the season for Oliver Moore. And that sounds drastic, but there's only a month and a week left of the season. So if you're talking about an injury that's going to keep a guy out weeks and you have to reevaluate in a month, I don't really see how Oliver comes back and plays any more games before the season's over, which stinks because he's been playing really well.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, hopefully it's something that doesn't require, a whole season of rehab and not like an ACL. Hopefully it's just a high ankle sprain or maybe a little fracture or something that he bounces back from quickly. So, thanks for the update. Appreciate that. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, man.
See you guys.
All right, that's Mario Tirabassi from the United Center. Bummer news, but let's liven things up. Let's head to the Frathouse, shall we? You ready, Chloe? I'm ready.
Ooh, I smell the
Frying it
stale
up.
beer already.
Hell yeah. Oh.
Or
wow.
do I?
Or do I, yeah.
There it is.
All right, our frat boy today is Connor Bedard. Get a load of these numbers. 2 assists, 5 shots on goal, 4 hits, and 11 shot attempts. Just an outstanding game for Connor Bedard at all ends. Playing with a bit of an edge tonight. He also seems to not really like the Utah Mammoth. Him and Logan Cooley had a couple back and forth. He must have heard the PHNX show called Logan Cooley.
No, that wasn't
the best prospect in hockey.
PHNX. That was the actual Phoenix Coyotes that did that, or Arizona Coyotes.
No, that was PHNX saying, come see the best prospect in hockey.
That was the Coyotes'
they're
actual
stupid.
account.
And they're stupid.
And neither of them exist anymore. Oh. Love you, Petey and Craig and Leah. But what? Maybe they should have said that. Karma, man. It always wins.
Oh, my Lord. Well, That's it. There that was.
One of those 4
Wait,
hit-
we got to do our game day men's health game puck winner before we reach overtime. We are going to go to overtime, but first we got to tell you about our game day men's health game puck winner. It is Frank Nazar. He gets to win with the overtime winner and the game puck. Better father, better husband, better man. Go to Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayCHGO.com to find locations closest to you. Congrats to Frank Nazar. We are going to overtime in 28 seconds. If you're watching us on the fast channels, your Samsungs, your Rokus, etc., switch over to allchgo.com to continue the show. We got a few minutes left. Greg, continue your point that you were making very eloquently before I interrupted you with
Don't patronize me, pal. All right. Connor Bedard, one of those 4 hits got you and I to turn to each other. It was on a power play. The Mammoth got the puck out of the zone. He back-checked, separated the defender from the puck, and got it back up the ice. And I turned to you and said, that's a play he doesn't make last year.
No shot.
And then we both said, that's a play he shouldn't have to make this year, but at least he's making it. I've got 2 more mundane Connor Bedard records that he set tonight.
By the way, JK Watch fan, how was Bedard at the dot? 7-7. He was 50%.
That's pretty good. 7-7.
We just ran out of space in the frat house.
7-7, also popular in the frat house. Connor Bedard, on his first assist, picked up his 116th career assist, surpassing, guess who?
Eddie Olczyk.
For the most by a Blackhawks player aged 20 or younger. And then by picking up the assist on the overtime goal, it was his 44th career multi-point game. And he has tied
Eddie Olczyk,
Dennis Savard for the most by a Blackhawks player 20 or younger.
He's pretty
good.
So
he's basically surpassed the Eddie Olczyk stratosphere, and now he's in the Dennis Savard
stratosphere.
Not
to take anything away from Dennis Savard, obviously one of the great Blackhawks of all time. But when he was doing that, the goaltenders were plumbers in the offseason and wore popsicle sticks as goalie pads.
True.
So it's a little bit different. So
and the net was also 5 times bigger.
Yeah, at least it seemed that way.
It was like a soccer net.
Exactly. And they walked to school uphill both ways.
Yes.
You know what I was thinking about today on the Frank Nazar beat? Is Frank Nazar Nick Schmaltz?
I think that's a decent comp. I'd take that.
Right?
I don't think people would be upset if he turns out to be Nick Schmaltz.
So I was thinking about that earlier.
Blackhawks legend Nick Schmaltz.
But I ran the numbers. Don't look it up.
All right.
Top of your head, give me a ballpark, points-wise, Nick Schmaltz's best season.
Has he had a 70-point season yet in his career?
He has not.
He's on pace for it this year, isn't he?
He has 59 points in 64 games.
That's on pace for 70. Yeah. I would say he's always around 55 to 60 points.
That's right. His
25 goals.
Last year was his career high. He had 20 goals, 43 assists, 63 points. The year before, 22 goals, 39 assists, 61 points, 58, 59. Very consistent 60-point score, but it took him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years into a season to get that high. Now, tons of injuries for him. 2018-19, he only played 23 games.
And he played on some really awful teams.
Yes,
too.
and in 2018-19, 14 points in 17 games. So then, but I wonder, I'm going to say this. I think that Frank has a little more offensive upside than Schmaltz does.
I think he has more. He's got more goal scoring potential than like Schmaltz is a really good setup man.
Yeah.
And of course, when he gets on a line, all of a sudden with guys like Logan Cooley and Clayton Keller, those assist totals go way up. It's funny how that works. But I think if Frank Nazar gets into his contract and is averaging 60 to 65 points a season for the duration of that contract, I don't think anybody can be upset with that.
No, and I just think Schmaltz, when he was here, and it was a different time, right? Like the Hawks were in a different place than they are now. At 2016, you're still 16-17, his rookie year, you're still feeling like the Hawks are good. They should be fighting for playoff positioning. So the expectations were different. He only played 13 minutes a night, but it took him a few years for that consistent offense to show up. And I wonder if Nazar, where we've seen the long slumps he's had this season, I wonder if it takes him a few years to really hit his stride offensively. I don't think it's going to take him as long as it took Schmaltz, but I was thinking about it today because I heard Nick Schmaltz's name came up on 32 Thoughts, and I was driving in, just kind of my mind wandered that way. That wouldn't be bad. I think that's a pretty good comp.
Lebowski says, thinking more like Seth Jarvis. Okay, that works for me.
That'd be great too.
Seth Jarvis is a star that if he was playing on a Canadian team would get a hell of a lot more pub.
Yes, he would.
Than playing on the Hurricanes. Yeah, I mean, we still don't know what Frank Nazar's ceiling is.
Right.
We're only 2 years into it, and this year. I want to say this year's a wash, but this year's tough to judge because of the injuries and because of the struggles. But, playing well now hopefully carries that over into these last 18, 19 games, whatever's left. If he can keep this going and be a point-per-game guy to close out the season, I think that will make him feel a lot better. It will make the organization feel a lot better. It will certainly make the fan base feel a lot better. And then you start fresh. You go into the offseason, hey, Frank, here's an idea. Spend the summer with Connor Bedard, and whatever he did last year, you do this year.
Yeah.
And you come back next year bigger and stronger, more confident, and skating better. And then the sky's the limit for next year because they're going to need him. Again, if you want to be that, you want to take that next step and be chasing down a wild card spot or, hell, be in a wild card spot at this point next year, and maybe actually add some guys at the trade deadline. He needs to step up. He needs to be a big part of it. He needs to be a 60-point guy next year. So we'll see how that goes. Should we? I know we're way over time, but I think
By the way, Sam is correctly calling me out that I did chuckle at his comment that he has rental space in my head. And when I did hear about Nick Schmaltz today, I did think of you, Sam. That is true. Because Sam's been asking, they should trade for Schmaltz. I'm like, Nick Schmaltz, who's thinking about him? And then I did. And then I thought about Sam.
See, that's how that works. You put it out in the universe, and all of a sudden people are talking about it.
No, Sam clocked me on that, and he's right.
I think it would be remiss to not talk about the Troy Murray tributes tonight.
Yes, 100%.
I'm sure you guys talked a bunch about it yesterday. Tonight was the first home game back since we lost Troy, and it was emotional night. There were flowers and a 19 jersey in the radio booth.
Yeah.
Katrina made a great banner that had it up by the radio booth. Forever in our hearts. The tributes were great. I caught our pal Charlie's interview with Nick Olczyk.
Yeah, really.
Driving over in the second interview. Just my new goal in life is to get people to say half as many good things about me when I die as people are saying about Troy Murray, because everybody loved Troy Murray, and it's not an act. It's not people saying nice things because he's no longer with us. Troy Murray was a tremendous human being. I will never forget, I was at the last game of the 88-89 season. I remember this like it was yesterday against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I got the tickets as my 10th birthday present. We go to the game. The Blackhawks needed to win to get to the playoffs. Troy Murray makes a Troy Murray play by stealing the puck from future Blackhawk legend Todd Gill and scores the overtime winner to put the Blackhawks in the playoffs. It was amazing. I became a huge fan of his at that moment as a 10-year-old boy in the Chicago Stadium. And that 10-year-old boy would have lost his mind to know that one day I would be a friend of Troy Murray's.
Yep.
When I got laid off from here last December, the third person to send me a text message when the news broke was Troy Murray. Got my phone number from the PR department and reached out to just be like, hey, I heard, I'm sorry, what can I do for you? That was Troy Murray.
Yeah.
And those moments, being able to sit at the Blackhawks Ice Center during practice and just talk hockey and break down the previous night's game, those are things that just I will always cherish. And then you get that sneaky elbow in the rib cage when he walks behind, his sense of humor going through all of this over the last 5 years was inspirational. And tonight it really hit, I know he hasn't been here the whole season, but there was always that slim bit of hope.
Yeah, you were always hoping. I think every game I kind of
you'd walk off that elevator and then you'd be like, oh my God, Troy's here. This is great because, he's done that before where he had to take some time off and he came back and, tonight it really hit when I saw those flowers in the ribbon. Like he's not coming back, and it sucks. And the Hawks did a great job tonight. I look forward to seeing what they're going to do. Name the radio booth after him.
Yeah,
that's a good.
There's got to be a plaque or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I cried 3 times tonight before the puck even dropped. I ran into Paul Zarang, who is radio engineering royalty in Chicago. The whole Zarang family, I've known them my entire career at the Score, and I think Paul and I are the closest, among their Zarangs, and just saw him in the washroom, and just like immediately the two of us hugged each other, and he was talking, getting choked up, and he lost his brother. Boy, Mark that's probably 10 years ago, maybe even more than that, very suddenly. And he was talking to me about my sister, and you share all this time with people, and you have that similar connection in Troy, and it's everybody there, right? And then I'm talking to Bruce Miles in the washroom, and he's like, what a great tribute to Troy. And I told Bruce, and I've said this before on the show, like, you become a fan of a team, and I think this is probably, I could say this for a lot of people watching now, like maybe you became a Hawks fan during the Taves and Kane and Keith and Seabrook era, and one of those 4 guys was your favorite players. But then as you like really get ingrained as a fan, you find that other guy, maybe for some it was Dave Boland or Nicholas Hjalmarsson or whatever. That was Troy Murray to me. Yeah. Troy Murray was like my first, when I started getting hockey, I started really appreciating what Troy Murray did. And that highlight package they showed to him that was it. Every play was him like, F you, I'm taking this puck and scoring over and over and over again.
They showed a highlight package, maybe 15, 20 goals. You would have thought they just showed the same play over and over again, but they were different plays. I mean, Troy Murray played the game a lot like Jonathan Taves. They were very similar in numbers. And I'll never, Joe Brand tweeted out the story that I've heard Troy make the joke too, that he said that like when they retire Jonathan Taves number 19, he says, I just want a real small asterisk on it, and on the bottom of the banner in very small print, also worn by Troy Murray.
I think he's going to get more than that, and I think he should.
He's definitely going to be put into the Blackhawks Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a fan of him I was a fan of his as a player, and then he became a voice of a generation. He got to call all those big moments. Unfortunately, Pat Foley never did because he was on TV, but it was John and Troy for 20 years together, calling all those great Stanley Cup playoff moments. So he became beloved by another generation of fans, and just such an important guy. And everybody's got these heartfelt tributes because they're hurting, because I've met a lot of people since, getting into this business, a lot of hockey people. And I don't think anybody has been as well respected, admired, and well liked as Troy Murray. I've not met anybody in the world of hockey that hasn't. I've met a lot of great people, but he was the best.
Well, and look, another guy who I think would fall into the same boat, we saw him today walking out, is Mark Bernard.
Yeah,
Rockford's GM, who's going through a battle of his own, and very similar to Troy in terms of personality, where he's got time for everybody, kind, beloved. So we're always thinking about Bernie. But man, it's just it was a hard night, man. It was definitely hard to see those tributes and to have the realization that he was gone. Seeing those flowers, and then we're talking to our buddy Windy City Hockey and Katrina. We're talking to us in front of the press box. And John Weideman walked over with the flowers that the Dallas Stars had left. They brought those back from Dallas to Chicago. They looked pristine. They looked like they were brand new. And, I'm like, how are you doing? And John, I know John really well. John was the MC at my wedding. John is not like he's not a touchy-feely guy. He's a keep-it-in guy. And you could tell he was hurting. He's like, 2 days ago was the worst. Yesterday was bad. Today's a little bit better. But you could just see that he was sort of, in his own way, reaching out to all of us to be like, hey, like, I see you guys. I know you see me. This is what Dallas did. Just kind of just an excuse to come talk and share in that community that Troy was such a huge part of. And I want to put on record definitively that there should be a number 19 Murray banner up there at the United Center, because for what your parents thought about Keith Magnuson, that's what we think about Troy Murray, right? The impact he had on the ice, if we're going by a hockey career on its own, probably not number retirement worthy. Same with Magnuson. But when you take that and then you take everything he's done for the organization, be it in the booth, be it with the Blackhawks Alumni Association, be it with the Blackhawks Scholarship, our family friends, Mackenzie Russell was one of the, she was, I think, the first or only woman to win the Blackhawks Scholarship that they give out every year. And Troy Murray presented it to her, checked in with her over the years, maintained that relationship. He doesn't have to do that. Yeah. He's a former player. Yeah, here's your jersey, kid. Here's your check. Enjoy. What's your name again? Right. But Troy made it a point as one of the leaders of the Alumni Association and someone who takes pride in that scholarship to keep in touch with those kids because he knows how much it matters. Right. That's the kind of dude that Troy is. And like you said, you only hope you can be remembered and thought of even close to what Troy was. And, you know, I've talked a lot about like me going to therapy and how it's very important to me every Thursday at 9. Like I always say to my therapist, like, all I want is to be remembered as a good person. That's it. That's like my life goal. It's not about money. It's not about what I accomplish in my career. If I can have people feel the way about me that they do about Troy, or 30% of that, I'll call this life a success, man. Seriously. It's beyond hockey, just the greatest guy in the world. Absolutely. Irreplaceable.
Absolutely. He's going to be missed by everybody.
100%.
Fans, colleagues, everybody. So yeah, thoughts definitely out to the Murray family, his 3 kids. You know, we're we're sharing our love with him. And you know, I can't even imagine, you know, what his 2 daughters and son are going through, because that was their dad. I mean, having a dad like that,
yeah, that's cool.
It's pretty amazing, you know. And Troy's battle and his courage through his battle reminded me a lot of my own father. Same. And when he went through and right to the end the same way,
just the silent sufferer, right?
And worked as long as he could until he just physically couldn't anymore. So that's kind of another connection there as well. So I mean, we can talk another 3 hours about Troy, but you know, it hurts a lot. You know, and I'm grateful for all the time I got with him. And you know, as I said, the 10-year-old me would have gone absolutely nuts knowing that one day Troy Murray would be sending me text messages, even though text messages didn't exist back then, but whatever. You know, I have that message saved, and it's never going to go anywhere. And it meant the world to me. Yeah. 2 seconds of his life. That's all it took to just show somebody that they're down, that it's okay. And, you know, he was right.
Yeah. Also, we talked about seeing Windy City Hockey and his pops and our friend Katrina, who is great friends with Troy Murray, again, made the big banner. I want to shout out a new fan we met today, Andrew, who was there with his son for the first time. There he is in the chat, Andrew Wingo. Hope you bought him a lot of snacks. We told you. Hey, kid. Make sure you get your fill of the soft serve.
I hope he got the helmet, the nacho helmet.
But got his little Bedard jersey on there, and it's always cool when you have that kid will never forget that game for many, many reasons. The Hawks went in overtime.
Because he met Jay Zawaski.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure that's a huge part of it. But nice to meet you too, Andrew, and we appreciate everyone coming up and saying hi. You know, it's very cool to meet the people that listen to the show, and we always appreciate it. So thanks, Andrew, and shout out to your little guy. We appreciate that. And we got a super chat from Brandon, $5, says, got emotional during that tribute to Troy Murray. I also want to send my condolences to both of you and Mario. Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's, you know, if you met Troy Murray for 5 minutes, you were upset over the last couple of days. So, all right, we're going to wrap things up.
And a hell of a saxophone player, too.
Yeah, I tweeted that out.
Yes.
The Chicago Six, Dan Hampton, Walter Payton, Dave Duerson, Troy Murray, Eric Nystrom, and Kurt Frazier put together like a Blues Brothers style band.
It was a real band.
Yeah.
They all played the instruments.
And Troy played the sax. But if you don't know, by the way, Dan Hampton is like a virtuoso musician. He was in the Arkansas marching band when the coach was like, "Why are you in the marching band? Get on the football field."
Go rip somebody's head off.
Right. But when the brief time Dan Hampton was on the score, he would always do his shows from home, and we would just have like an open connection. And during breaks, he'd just go play the piano, and it was like, "Who's playing the piano?" He's like, "Oh, that's me." It's like unbelievable. But yeah, go look up the Chicago 6. It's really cool, and it kind of looks like the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Yeah,
because like the same era, they were kind of dressed the same way, and Troy's just ripping it up.
Hell, but it's cool.
Cheesy as hell, but it's also very cool to see those 6 guys come together and form a band. That was the heyday of Chicago sports, man. Hopefully, we get back to those days. All right,
great.
We'll talk to everybody. Brian says coming to the game on the 31st. Looking forward to meeting you guys. Yep, front row of the press box.
It's going to be a good one.
Yep.
Jonathan Taves' likely last game at the United Center.
That's right. All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 3 on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.